How's it going, everyone? I'm Honan,
I'm Oliver.
and today we're going to be once again updating about the 50-50 situation. I guess we're going to compete with like the Luna updates and this, like what can have more updates.
Yeah,
This one's definitely gotten way more wild comparatively than the Luna story, I feel like.
yeah. So last I heard, it emerged Dispatch, who, when they get involved in this kind of thing, actually produce good journalism. um, Found that An Sung-il had forged the signatures from the Swedish students that transferred the copyrights over to the givers.
Yeah. And then in like a statement released from the givers, the way that from my understanding from what I was reading from their statement, they were basically saying, well, we have the copyright and like those artists, the original two like Swedish songwriters aren't part of the Korea like music organization that they're a part of. And
Yeah,
they had the right to do with who has song credits and signatures because they have the copyright already was their thing that they were saying.
yeah.
And I was like trying to
It
see if
feels
that made
tautological.
sense as I read it, and I was like, I've also just never come across that as a situation that I've heard about.
Yeah, it sounded like they're
It's
saying we have the copyright, and it's like even though we got the copyright via a forgery, we but we have it, so therefore it's
yeah, like
fine. And it
it's
seems, yeah,
interesting. I wonder if those original songwriters are under some sort of like non-disclosure and they can't come out and say anything about
well,
this
yeah, because I
situation.
know that they got approached for interview, and it seemed like they were up for talking, but I guess maybe they have been held it. But it also maybe feels like Dispatch is kind of stretching it out on purpose because they're a media organization and they want to try and keep people coming in to check and
They're
look for
waiting to
updates.
drop that like right at the last moment.
They'll
Like, oh,
drop the
by the
next bombshell.
way.
Yeah, they're like waiting to hit them with something like good whenever the opportunity is right.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a messy situation, but it only has kind of furthered the support for a track that there is over here at least, and I don't think internationally everyone's just kind of like, God, what a mess. Um,
Yeah, I was reading a lot of comments on like because there's so many different websites talking about this,
yeah,
and everyone was like complaining basically that they think the girls were like isolated from the CEO of Attract, and this guy convinced that On Sung Il convinced them like, hey, I have the song rights to Cupid, I can get us on like Warner Korea, like all this big promises to them and their families, and they're thinking
yeah,
like, oh, okay, well that sounds like
that
amazing.
sounds good.
Yeah. But now it's like not so much.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
I mean, it's like the golden thing of music success, isn't it? It's never trust the big executive who says he's
Yeah.
gonna make
They're
you
snake
famous
oil
or whatever.
salesmen. Yeah,
Oh my god!
it's
Like, and it's like this kind of story we've seen in Western pop music like countless times. Um,
one point of view
yeah,
I don't like, and this I'm not even gonna say it's a cultural thing or anything. One of the point of views I've seen is like, well, here's this example of other artists who didn't make money for a very long time from their
yeah,
success. So 50-50 should have had to have waited to make money, the girls themselves or whatever too. And that's just kind of
right.
one of those systems that is not very good, in my opinion, where these artists are going long periods of time making like
Yeah,
$0.
yeah.
And these
Obviously, that
companies
is
are
not
making
ideal.
massive amounts of money.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, that's not ideal. But I guess the point people make is like, well, that is the
That
system,
is the system. No, I understand
and
that that's how
they
it's
should do it.
worked.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I'm thinking that's not like a good way to be
no.
like, hey, they shouldn't have like tried this because of this or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's
I feel like
some
that's not
jealousy
a
thing almost.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, and from what I can see, the Korean Music Copyright Association (KOMCAT) came out and said, well, obviously, while there's an ongoing dispute, like it's standard procedure that we can't start handing out royalty payments because it's disputed, and if we give a lot of money to someone, then and they have to give it to someone else, it's going to get messy. So they're holding the money off them for now. So that obviously adds further incentive for them to wrap this up. But it seems like they and the general people just want 50/50 to kind of reconcile with the tract and go back that way. It seems like not many people are inclined to side with Xi'an, especially now that he could potentially be facing a serious criminal charge for forging a forging names on a document like that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it
that's
doesn't look good.
that's not something I've ever heard of seeing done. Like,
No,
so when I first heard about it, I was like, that can't be, like, that's insane.
and it kind of transpired after there was that phone call where the CEO of Attract was like, "Oh hey, like you talked about the copyrights, but like I haven't seen the names of the Swedish producers on the transfer of copyright detail," and he was like, "Yeah, it can take months for that to happen." And
Yeah,
clearly, that set something. He was like, "Fuck, I need a I need a forged signature."
not only that, but he said about that his name showing up first was because he's part of the, like, Korean Music Writers
Yeah,
Association.
right.
So his name would always show up first because the other two artists aren't a part of that or whatever. And I was like, that's like
And
a
and
that sounds like a
people
weird kind of stipulation thing or whatever. I
people
was
buy
like,
songs from non-Korean
and you
artists
see
all
their
the
names
time.
always, like, plastered in the credits and stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah, very bizarre.
one of the kind of really strange things is he came out. The Givers made, like, a statement about the percentages split because
Yeah,
Tract was saying the Givers were getting like 90% of the revenue or something like that. And
yeah,
so in a part of their long statement, they were saying no, 50% goes to Attract, 6% goes to the artist, and then we take, like, all the rest of that essentially. And
yeah,
I was kind of like, that seems like a hard thing to lie about because it seems like it'd be very easy for someone to disprove that in, like, a
right.
contract itself. Like,
Yeah, yeah. There's now been multiple different like revenue splits that have been bandied about and stuff, and it just
yeah, and there's got to be just like a very exact contract on where all that revenue is going.
yeah,
Like, I'm sure
yeah,
Dispatch already has all that, and like you said, they're
yeah.
probably just gonna drop that at some point too.
I mean, there has to be multiple people who know and are withholding information. Like, eventually, more will transpire. See, the way it seems to go is like as soon as we finish like recording this, tomorrow morning there'll be like the next, the
Yeah,
next big bombshell will land. Um, but yeah, that's where it sits at the moment. It's
it has
not
been
looking
kind of
great.
spaced in increments of like 3 days. I feel like each time when they're
Yeah,
just like dropping a new bombshell.
yeah. Something else has taken over, so let's bring it back. Bring this
Yeah.
back in. Yeah,
That is kind of generally the update of, like, what has been going on with that situation. It's just so ridiculous that there's no way to prove anything
yeah,
yet because so much. It's like everyone's flinging stuff at each other. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
and then you need someone to be like, "That's true. That's false." Like, it's
Yeah, it's very hard to take a side as a result as well. Like my feelings that I talked about in the last episode are still the same, right? But and this, if anything, is just that kind of added weight to like the man, I don't trust Xi'an at all. But then, yeah, there's obviously more to come. So I'm still kind of
it's
withholding a
my
thought.
whole viewpoint on it now because it's just getting so ridiculous. Is just like everyone in this is such a jackass right now.
Right,
Like,
right.
it's like, and then I
Yeah,
just feel
they're
bad
both
for,
idiots.
like, the members of 50/50. I don't really know how this seems like a hard one to roll back from.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like this is some really bad press. Like,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
quite sure how a career recovers from, like, this much of a story like this
But
one.
I look forward to them being on a show 20 years from now talking about their brief moment in the spotlight.
I hope somehow they could recover from it. I just don't even see what the road to that would be. Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and
maybe
see.
the best outcome maybe is, like, them getting away from Attract and Unsung Ill, and some sort of third party consumes 50/50 and, like, the creates, like, I don't know. It's all Because that's like maybe the only way they could have some sort of like a fresh restart.
Yeah, they'd have to really make it apparent that like that Shyama like completely manipulated them or something, and then get a fresh start somewhere.
Yeah, they'd have to have people like on
I
their
think
side about the situation.
it's good. Yeah, it'll be tough, especially here. Internationally, no problem, but over here, not so easy.
Yeah,
But obviously, we've
because
seen that you don't need a Korean fan base to succeed anymore. So
yeah, and I guess the main success of theirs has been like international.
yeah,
Because Cupid's been an international hit more so than I would say like a Korean one.
I mean, actually, very recently, I think like within a couple of days, the US has like overtaken China as the second biggest K-pop market.
I'm not surprised you hear it so much
Yeah.
like more often here now.
Obviously, we just had Jungkook release his long anticipated and remarkably obscene solo.
I I was genuinely shocked because like I watched the music video, heard the normal version, and I was like, okay, like I don't know why everyone's saying like this is so spicy or something, you know. And then the explicit version was shared from Spotify to be right after, and I was like, oh come on, it's like BTS correlated, you know, it's not gonna be anything like. And the second like you heard that first chorus, I scrolled it back, I was like that
yeah. What did he say?
cannot be what I'm hearing. I was like, did Trent Reznor ghostwrite this chorus for you?
Yeah, it's very very funny stuff. And then there was a bizarre thing that happens, kind of just a tangential story. So he was like in New York, I think, promoting, doing stuff, and turned out Jimin coincidentally was also there.
Is
so
this the yacht story you're about to tell me?
Yeah, I'm about to tell you the yacht story. So they went on a dude's yacht, and apparently their staff were like, "Hey, don't film and like don't speak too much English or whatever." And the guy took offense to that and basically was like, "It's my yacht, like I'm gonna fucking do what I want," you know. And so he like posted pictures of them without their consent, and generally was just kind of being a dick about them and K-pop as a whole or whatever. And the dude's business is now no longer an active website.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He probably the amount of BTS fans that must have swarmed that website. That is like the worst thing that can.
I mean, this is one of the rare times that I'm fully on board with Army on that one.
Yeah, I saw that guy's video, and he's such a dick. I mean, there's few times where you're just like blatantly like, what a dick, you know? But like when you see his video and he's like, it's my boat and all this stuff, and he's like, I can do whatever I want. It's like they paid money to be on the boat.
Yeah.
Which means at that moment they're a customer that you're supposed to treat as like properly, not it's not like he was just chilling out his yacht. They're like, hey, can I hop on that real quick or something? Like,
so that would be funny.
Like, it's such a stupid thing. I don't know how that he clearly did not understand quite how famous the two of them were or something. Like,
no, completely.
And the shitstorm that was
I don't know.
up.
I don't know who he was thinking he was going to impress with those posts. But
yeah, it's not like his fellow yacht friends are like.
Yeah, it's not like he didn't just swing and miss. Like he swung and missed, and then the back came around and hit him in the back of the head. Like, just a huge L.
And it's like if his daughter or someone in his family or something was like a fan of theirs, they would just be like, "Wow, you just like ruined my life."
You're a dick. Yeah, like why would you do that? Like, you could have had an opportunity to have like a cool like moment with two of the biggest pop stars on the planet.
Yeah.
And like you say, imagine he has some like niece or nephew or whatever who's like really into them. He's like, hey, yeah, I met these two dudes, like, you know, maybe they could take a picture together or whatever. Yeah. Like, fucking incredible, you know. Like, and instead he does that. Like, what are you doing?
You could tell when I saw like the little video thing of him talking and stuff, he just had that like instant asshole voice, you know. You've heard it before where someone just has that like very entitled way of talking about them.
I mean, the guy unironically used the word player, so like I mean
it was so dumb. Yeah, I just saw the this morning when I woke up, and I was like, "Wow!" I'm sure Jungkook and Jimin are just like, "Wow, Americans are wonderful human beings."
Yeah, well, I love promoting it so much. Yeah.
We don't own the yacht community. I don't take ownership of that guy.
So, so I guess we're gonna the main bulk of this episode we're gonna talk about the about Queendom Puzzle because we've both been watching it. But
Before
before
we
we do
get to
that,
that, yeah.
I want to mention a couple other things from survival shows that are upcoming or have started. So JYP's one to form like the American Nitsu group,
Uh,
A2K,
I
has
watched the first two
started.
episodes.
Oh, did you? I didn't watch
Yes.
it, so you know better than I do.
Eh, dude, if you watch the first episode, I love JYP, but like the first 10 minutes of the first episode is the biggest stroke fest of his own ego I've ever seen. Like this long intro of him just doing JYP things, saying like
Uh-huh.
number one male artist in Korea and stuff about himself, and putting like all his like hits and showing him on like the keys like this and stuff. Like they had him in the plane sitting like this and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
all
You
his
gotta have
glamour
one of him like a rotating shot of him where he's got sunglasses on, he's looking up at some tall buildings. Like,
But then the first like seconds of him in the US is him driving a Bentley with like the roof off and his hair just like oh my god, dude, it was the most JYP thing I've ever seen.
I want to watch
in,
that
like,
immediately.
Yeah,
I love the sound of everything about that.
it's interesting. Yeah, it looks like he's with Republic Records. He's gonna make like a collaborative American K-pop girl group because that makes sense, I guess.
Like I said, it's like Nitsu, right? It's like
He said he's gonna put them in like the JYP system.
Yeah,
and then Republic is going to be a part of their like U.S. release.
Yeah, essentially, It's exactly what he did with Nitsu, but they're just in Japan. He's just going to do that in America.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
So I saw the clip of some girl who was like, she was like really relieved, and she was saying how she's like, oh, like dancing like not my strong point, and then it cut to JYP just going, well, obviously it wasn't very good.
Yes, so that
funniest thing.
That was hilarious. Well, you know, JYP does that thing too, where he's like almost insulting you, but he's smiling at you when he does it, so it seems worse because he's like smiling as he's insulting
so funny.
you. But that girl was like 12, dude.
Right.
And
she's getting a lot of traction here. Like people are jumping on board with her immediately. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Like it's weird for me to have like, because all the other girls generally that he put through so far were like 17 kind of age range, and then there's a
more
12-year-old.
Age. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like that disparity of like, what if the whole group has like these 17, 16-year-olds, and there's just like, and there's a 12-year-old like randomly tossed in. I don't know. The concept there then becomes very strange.
Weird. How do you do that properly? Yeah.
It's a little interesting because I don't think this is a thing where they're going to be training for like a couple years and then debut or something. They're going to probably be
it's not necessary to train that hard to do it to perform in America.
And
Americans don't care so much about
that girl. Maybe would be like 13 when this debuts or something, you know, like it's a bit unusual. She was talented. I'm not taking like anything away she was actually probably one of the better ones out of everyone who tried out or whatever, but it's also like just put her in JYP for a couple of years or something and let her train and debut in something else.
It could also be like an exposure thing though, right? Like maybe if she doesn't make the group, but like some companies like, oh hey, like let's sign her and get her to come to Korea and join our group and be.
I think JYP would sign her because he had like money signs flashing in his dome when she was performing.
I see.
Multilingual singing and dancing, like it was
and then of course we have another show as well, which is we have Are You Next, which is the Hype one. I don't know. I haven't been watching that at all, so I don't know anything about it yet.
That one I have not watched.
So that's going to make girl group number, what is this, 6 or 5 from Hype?
Because I forget that they have From Miss 9 technically through like owning other companies.
But they forget that too sometimes. But and then we're gonna have the Island 2 that they were gonna do. It seems like they were gonna do Island. So Island is the show that formed in Hypen, right?
Okay.
so they were going to do Island 2, and it was going to be like a girl one.
Oh, that could
But
be dope.
then, well, but then they instead transferred Island 2 to Mnet, so Mnet's going to do it,
Great.
and it's good. So it's going to be under Wake One. So like when Kepler disband next year, this new group will replace them.
Oh, so
But then
that's just how they keep the chain going, like
yeah,
the.
but Hyde meanwhile is like, well, we were gonna do a girl group survival, so let's do one anyway. So then doing Are You Next instead. So yeah. And then then the Universe Ticket, which is I think an SBS run show, that's has just dropped its full list of participants, one of whom I know extremely well, as I've met over 20 times. And you have also met and spoken to her, which is Belle from Signature. So I don't really know how to feel about it. I hope that she's the one who chose or wanted to go on the show. That's my main thing, is that it wasn't the company saying, "Hey, you're going on this show because we need to get some attention." I hope it was her saying, "I would like to audition," and then made it. And
Yeah.
because I support the group, I support her, so I'm going to support what she's doing. I don't think I could look her in the eyes and say, I didn't support you on that show you went on.
For sure.
What kind of fan would I be if I did that?
Like if anything, if she does good, it just brings more exposure to Signature.
Well, exactly, and I think that you can point to Cherry Billet as the best example of that, right? Like we saw what kind of impact Bora and May and the others have been on the shows like Girls Planet and Girls Reverse and now Queendom, what that's done for them. Like it's massively helped with their sales and stuff. So hopefully Belle does great on the show, and then maybe just on a personal level, I would like it if she doesn't make it to the final group, but goes far and has good moments, gets good screen time, and then comes back. Because I wouldn't want her to be away for 2.5 years or whatever it would be. But Chesel made a big post and assured everyone, they're going to be by our side for a long time and not to worry about, and like she's excited for the future and blah blah blah. So I don't think it's anything more than just a little side quest for a while.
No, it's not like when you've seen like what's her name from Eugene from like CLC, and CLC's ending, so they're going on a show or something like that. Yeah, there's not been like this like, oh, our group's kind of on like the verge or whatever.
But there are a couple of people on there from groups that have disbanded, or like are very much kind of on the fringes. So we have like Gian from Busters, we have Aki, formerly of Majors, and we have Yewon, formerly of Hot Issue. So certainly, and Unche, of course, formerly of Daya. So quite a few names, more known in like Noogiville, but certainly some interesting things, because no one in there is like crazy famous. You don't have like a Huey, but there's also like a lot of children. Like there's a good number of 12-year-olds and maybe an 11-year-old.
And this is gonna be like one of those things that debuts probably like right away, right?
Probably by the end of the year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know. It's such a conflicting thing. Like I have no problem with like someone that young when they go into the training system or whatever, and maybe they train for like 4 years or something, or whatever. But when it's like, oh, I'm going to debut at like 12, it's like, that's when it's kind of like. I mean,
this is a show which is similar to Produce in scope in the sense that there's like 80+ contestants, right? So in theory, it's down to the public, and it's not like one of the 12-year-olds is guaranteed a spot.
No, I understand, but I just don't think a 12-year-old like has the mental capacity to be a K-pop idol. Like
no, but what I mean is like it's as going on a show like that and getting the experience and seeing like senior people who've debuted before and stuff and working with them, and then you keep training and you use that experience later.
Yeah. I could see it as an experience thing. The problem is there's a chance
they might
that they will make it. It's like it's not like it's a 0%.
But having said that, what's hilarious is like it'll be like a 2.5-year contract like Kepler's is, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you debut age 12 or 13, and you're finished by the time you're 15. You come out and you're like, well, that was fun. Back to school.
They're like you're like a hag of the industry already by the time you're 15 years old.
Age 15.
You've debuted and been in a group.
Yeah. But one of the girls, the 12-year-old, she's a trot singer apparently. So
that's a thing, like a super young trot singer.
You get kids who are trot singers. Yeah,
that's interesting. It's like the most kind of like, I would say probably older person style of genre, definitely.
But you can imagine like what the impact is if to a crowd of old women, if like a cute kid comes out.
Oh yeah, no, like
everyone's like, oh yeah. I mean, there's always when they do like Miss Trot or Mr. Trot, there's always a handful.
To be fair, Trot just slaps. Like
it really does.
I've never heard a Trot song and I've been like, that it instantly makes me want to like move.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so corny and cheesy. It's hard not to enjoy.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself like overly serious. Like it is what it is.
If there's one thing Trot does, it's not take itself seriously. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it, I guess, for the news bulletin. There's not too many other big stories to cover or anything like that.
I do have a couple more things before we do get into Queendom Puzzle.
Go on.
I want to talk about the kind of protest trucks that I just read about. Okay. So we obviously knew that was already happening. Even while I was in Seoul, they had the ones for like Chen and Baekhyun and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that got resolved. But now Red Velvet has been fans have been sending trucks, because I also have a complaint. I do feel like Red Velvet hasn't had like a lot of promotion or anything going on. I know they had a world tour, and that's like decent. But even then, their social media like itself is kind of like, for a lot of their artists, for Taeyeon, for Red Velvet, is kind of very hit and miss. Like it's like not professionally managed. It feels like it's like someone gets like a reminder sometimes on their Google Calendar, and they just like post some random ass clip or something, like. But this
it does feel like aespa gets the main like focus of social media drive and stuff,
which it's not like I don't expect aespa to get the most, or like NCT and stuff, because those are like your newest main money churning artists or whatever,
right?
But Red Velvet are million sellers and stuff like that. Like it's not some small time like group just chilling in the corner of your label, or they're like they churn a huge profit. And apparently that was one of the protest things, was like, you guys always botch like the album sales. Like it always is way more than you expect. And then you have like shipping problems and things like that. And then they were saying 2 albums in 10 years type of thing. Like there's been 2 full albums out of their entire career and stuff. And they're like, what the hell? Like to make a 3rd full album and all this stuff. Like it was like, the complaints usually from those trucks sometimes make me laugh, but I felt like some of the Red Velvet ones were actually pretty like valid complaints that the fans had about it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, sometimes the truck thing kind of is a bit silly, but I think I get it when it feels like what your artists are being shunted aside in favor of the others. And again, it's not a drag on aespa or saying like aespa should have less. It's like, no, everyone should have the same kind of put. Like if one group is getting loads of a big push on social media, then so should everyone, right? Like it's not like SM has been going through it lately, but that doesn't mean that they can't have social media people post appropriate things and like keep people informed about concerts and stuff like that. One of the complaints about Towns was like there hasn't been any like behind the scenes content or anything. It's like, we saw ourselves like the stuff that she filmed for the concert and everything like that, and it's like, well, you'd think that there'd be some behind the scenes and stuff like that they could release, and just general stuff like that.
It's such a large company. I'm like actually surprised at how inefficiently run like a lot of the social media stuff is, and that content isn't just constantly being like churned in rotation, because it's not like it would be hard for them to have a whole editing team of just churn out content.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a massive company. It's
And,
like it's
and like
pretty straight.
not producing enough albums that's like something that happens like in Nugu'ville. Like that happened with C9 like all the time. Every signature release, they've not printed enough.
And it's not like Red Velvet doesn't bring in enough
Yeah,
money to be like, oh, let's not make it. No, it said like the previous one was over a
like
million
they're right. Yeah, they
records, and
full
so like
every one they've done is like breaking the previous
yeah.
previous
So it's
sales.
like
So,
it makes you money. Like I've just
it
literally
genuinely seems like they're afraid of money at times.
it's like, oh no, that sold over a million records, so we gotta hold off on that. Like,
Yeah.
what is that?
Um, I think yeah, there's definitely some stuff going on, especially maybe contractually. I'm not sure exactly, but I know that they signed new contracts when Yeri joined. So they like all signed the same contract in 2015. So
Yeah,
that would have expired last year, right? And then I think they renewed, but maybe now they're already looking at it would have been like a 2 year extension, and they're going to
yeah.
look at the next one. So I don't know. Maybe that's a factor.
The SM contracts have that like 7 year thing, right, or
Usually,
something. And then
but
apparently, if you're in a boy, if you go in the military, it doesn't count any of that time.
yeah, it emerged. NCT have some weird contract stuff, but I meant with a group as ridiculous a concept as that, it makes sense, I guess, that the contracts don't make sense. But I don't know. I imagine that with everything that went on, there's probably some behind the scenes stuff with Red Velvet that we're not privy to. It also seems
Yeah.
like it's kind of hard to get the five of them together a lot of the time lately.
No, I have seen Gary acting because the thing is, the girls themselves in Red Velvet are like actually good at active on social media, except for
Yeah,
Irene.
that's just,
Irene is like
I
a
mean, it's
barren
like
desert
whatever.
of posting on Instagram,
Yeah.
but the Yeri is like always on Instagram, like
Yeah,
constantly.
but they're always doing different stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
right? So it's like they always have their own schedules going on, which is cool and all. But then it's like that obviously is impact. Maybe the girls like just we don't want to slash we don't have the time to come together and do the whole thing.
No, it's
Like
possible it's because of them or something. I
yeah,
just also SM as a company you think would be kind of trying to constantly
yeah,
create group content somehow or something,
yeah.
like holy shit, you sold over a million records with that last one, like let's get in, let's
Right,
try and put some music out and stuff.
and it's like given that Red Velvet were in a time in like 2016 or whatever, it was like pretty like it was like them and Blackpink and Twice were like the leading girl group artists of third gen. And then you see now like the huge record breaking successes that Blackpink and Twice are having overseas and stuff, and Red Velvet aren't anywhere near that when they absolutely could be. It wasn't like they didn't have a fan base, but it felt like the SM didn't capitalize on it the same way that YG and JYP have done.
Yeah, the gap between when I saw them in the US and them ever returning here is like huge. Like
Yeah,
and then Twice has been here all the time, it feels like.
yeah,
Like perform and same with Blackpink. It's like, oh, Blackpink is back in LA again. Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like it's like a return. They keep coming back. And you notice with Blackpink and Twice, because they kept showing up, the venues were getting bigger and bigger and
The
bigger every
sales going,
time
yeah,
because they
yeah,
had to build that hype,
yeah,
up. It wasn't like they showed up and they were in the largest arena right away. Like both
right.
Blackpink and Twice did small arenas, then the Forum, then kind of like all the way to SoFi and like our biggest
Yeah,
stadiums we have now. Like
yeah,
it's. I feel like Red Velvet has missed a lot of that progress for sure. Like
yeah. Certainly, some of it was impacted by like the hiatus they were on after Wendy's injury and stuff like that.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, and maybe just
But then you
from
see them do a massive world tour and it doesn't even scratch over here or anything too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
That's what I mean. Like it could have done if they had been focused on that from 2018 or thereabouts. When it
yeah.
really started going global. Um,
Get your
yeah,
shit together, SM.
yeah, legit. But actually, that kind of reminds me of, or brings me to another topic I forgot to talk about, which is about Super Junior. Obviously, another SM group, but since 2015 have been managing themselves as a subsidiary of
Yeah,
SM.
they have like the SJ label or something,
Label
right?
SJ, yeah. So they had contract renewal, and the concept of Super Junior has been renewed. This is 18 years into their debut, by the way, which is nuts. Like you now have all these contestants from survival shows who were born after they debuted.
Yeah.
Um, but but for the first time, there are now going to be some other things going on with some of the members in terms of other companies and stuff getting involved. So first, Kyuhyun is going to work with likely with Antenna for his solo promotions, and him as a solo artist is very kind of has always been very separate from the rest of what Suju does. I mean, he is known as like the like ballad king and stuff like that, and he
Yeah.
releases these huge hit ballads all the time, and it's very much when he's promoting as a solo artist, he's very separate from his identity as a member of Suju. So that makes sense, you know, and he wants to. Label SJ doesn't have huge resources, and you know, they can only draw so much from SM to like help do all of that. But then I think the more exciting news is D&E, Donghae and Eunhyuk, who themselves as a subunit debuted 10 years ago, which is like they're a subunit with more longevity than some groups. They are going to set up their own company, not just for managing themselves, but they want to bring in trainees and train artists and debut their own artists,
Interesting.
which is fucking dope. And I'm pretty sure it's like the first time since Rain that I'm not counting Psy because I don't think Psy's an idol, but that we've had like an actively promoting idol who
Yeah,
is
and
also going to.
Eunhyuk is also like a good one because he's like a really good dancer. He does some of the choreography, like creation, I believe, right, for their
Yeah.
stuff, like Black Suit and things like that. And so it's
And
interesting.
Donghae is he's the only one who can like produce music as well. He's
Hmm.
produced some of his own songs
It
and
makes
some
sense it's the
Suju
two
songs.
of them then, because like they
Yeah,
would definitely be the ones more in mind to do that.
yeah, and
Although I
so
feel like
that's
Hicho would be the funniest CEO to have of like a freaking K-pop agency.
well, yeah. Heachel takes full credit for training from Miss Nine. So
Just did you imagine your CEO showing up in a Teachable or whatever?
I mean, like, there's been shows where he's done like programs on how to train and how to promote groups and stuff, and the dude knows his shit.
No,
So
it's just it seems like his
definitely be a good
personality is the type to
consultant.
stroll in like a
Yeah,
flamboyant suit and start
yes, he
cracking
would.
jokes or something, you know, as he strolls in the room.
But
Like,
yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes of that. Dini Entertainment or whatever they're going to call it.
is he Chul? Because those two have left then, right? And then Kyohyun has left.
Left SM, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So Heechul and the
but they're
others are
all
still on
gonna
SM.
yeah, but they're all going to continue under label SJ in order to promote as Super Junior. This is like an in addition
Yeah,
to
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
pretty
feel
cool
like Heechul is a
developments.
very like SM loyal type of like.
I mean, it's worked out for him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think every year, pretty much every time he has a contract renewal, he said like, "Oh, I want to leave Suju and I want to leave SM," and every year
He always comes
he
back. Yeah, yeah.
signs. Yeah, I mean the dude is 40 years old now, so like he's a company man at this point. Um,
Before you
yeah,
move on to what you're going to talk about, just finishing with the trucks.
yeah,
It's basically someone who worked on the I Am video came out and
yes,
acknowledged how professional Wong Young is because they were saying she had injured herself on she got injured by something on the set or whatever during the
yeah.
video
She yeah had to go to
and had to get
hospital.
like 7 stitches, I think they said, or something, like, which is not like a that's nothing to like
Not a small
laugh
number.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah, like um and then the director thought like, oh, I guess like we're gonna have to take like a long break or hiatus or something, and
yeah.
then said she was like right back to filming, professionally acted like nothing was wrong or
Yeah,
whatever.
and like and then you can see some people have posted stills and stuff where you could see on her arm that she had like the stitches and stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
she said
so
that they
like
said they never complained about it or anything, which is
yeah, so the person was just acknowledging how impressed they were, how professional Wong Young is. So I guess the protest truck now went outside of Starship saying kind of like take care of Wong Young, take
right.
care of her health and everything. And it's like, I imagine in this scenario, Wongyun's just someone, like she said, who was very professional. So she's like,
Getting on with their job.
Yeah, I want this to be completed. I don't want like a long high. I understand if it was like people could be worried the company were like, no, you still gotta go. But I just don't feel like that's what happened.
You pushed her out of a real plane for this music video? Are you crazy?
I can understand why someone would be worried, maybe that the company heavily influenced her doing that or something. But I feel like Wongyun is someone who has the power to be like, nah, if she didn't want to or something, you know, like,
yeah.
She seems like she has enough popularity and power to basically tell Starship, like, I don't feel healthy enough to do that or something, you know, like,
right.
And apparently the way Starship decided to handle this protest truck was to go tell the driver, we will call the cops if you do not leave. Because I'm sure that that's going to stop any form of protest.
Yeah, I think this one is probably a bit overkill from the fans because, like, I mean, Starship have shown in the past few months that they take the health of IVE members seriously because, of course, Ray went on that hiatus for her health, like, just around the time of, just after the comeback. Like, if there was a problem, you'd think that that's an example that they care enough to intervene about it.
If anything, I would imagine the company in that situation was more worried, kind of probably saying like, "Oh, maybe you should.
Hey, you should take a break."
Like,
she's
probably like, "I'm gonna finish this video."
Like, I kind of agree.
She seems like, I don't want to say. I don't mean this in a bad way. Wongyun seems like a workaholic, like almost.
Yeah. And
I don't mean it in like a terrible way or anything. Like she just seems like she's always doing something.
Yes, she definitely is.
Like always in something, you know. So it's and it seems like of her own volition because a lot of it is like personal promotion. It's a lot of it is unrelated to IVE. Like if you've seen her Instagram, and it's like constantly fashion and like makeup product things and stuff. It's like all the time, which makes sense. She literally would probably be a supermodel if she was not in IVE. So it's like. Right. Anyways, that was kind of between a truck that made sense protest-wise to me to one where I was kind of like, I don't, I guess.
Yeah, not sure about that. Yeah. I guess I had one other thing I wanted to talk about. So a fan went to the agency of the girl group Saturday, just, you know, to see the agency building or whatever. It's kind of a thing you do when you're on tour here or whatever. They went there, and they saw that it was no longer there. That it was just another business had replaced it, and there was even like a faded poster like on the wall, like where like the billboard or whatever, and they'd like taken it down, and you could just make out like the members' faces from like etched into the background or something. So people were like, "Oh well, bad news for Saturday, who we haven't seen really for a while." Seems like, you know, they're done. They've just been quietly disbanded. Another sad case of a company just going bankrupt or whatever it might have been. What a shame. And then literally like within a few days of that happening, and pretty much every Saturday related fan account on Twitter and stuff all closing and saying, look, it looks like it's the end, been a good ride and everything. From the depths of nowhere, a statement is made in which they were like, well, we're having a comeback, boys, and they like 6th single album, bang, here it is. Oh, by the way, one member's left, but anyway. And then and I was like, where are you even doing this from? Like, you don't have a building anymore, like. So
no free promotion or anything, just drop it,
just out of nowhere.
And what one member left? Like, who would like they just like.
The member who left was my bias.
Oh well, there you go. Now you don't stand anymore. No, just
devastated. But I mean, the only thing that I remember about Saturday musically is their song "Wi-Fi," which everyone said was like a Momoland copy when it came out. They were like, and by that I mean it was like a fun electro bounce with like
it was trumpet. Like a Momoland copy, just like sounds like Bam or something. Like
it felt like I could do like a boom boomy type sound. But I mean. That itself is not the most unique sound ever. Anyway, it was fun song.
I might have a hot take on the Momoland 2 songs thing. Bam was better than Boom.
True.
Right?
They
were like very much the same style, but like if I had to pick between what is more cheerful, like fun, it's Bam.
bam, bam slaps. Yeah.
It's like bam. It's just that hook of that. That's it.
Yeah.
Because boom boom da 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 boom boom to me doesn't hit as hard as the like bam.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But,
Hey,
yeah.
well, unfortunately, folks,
Alright,
we won't
so-
be seeing any lives of that anytime soon. I'm sorry.
No, but
To bring in a Momoland back into anyone's heartstrings.
maybe Saturday can fill that void.
What were we going to do when we finished?
Queendom, maybe.
Oh, yeah. For everyone still here, we have the Queendom puzzle review. Just the first round of performances, because there's probably by now been more, right?
Yeah. But you're too ickle. You can't handle a whole episode.
No. I've seen all the first round performances.
Yeah. But you can only watch an hour at a time.
2.5 hour episodes, okay? They're quite long. Like, it's weird going on Wednesday. I watched the Second World, the JTPC one. Those episodes are like an hour and a half, much more contained.
Yeah.
For time. Every Mnet series feels like I'm doing like a Lord of the Rings trilogy watch party or something. Like, it's like, oh, you mean I need to set aside like 4.5 hours right now?
I
like,
get it.
Yeah. Is there like an order you want to do, or just like the ones that are most memorable to us?
I have the list here, so we can just go through in order of the order that they appeared on the show.
Yeah, I'll wait until we get to what I'm mad about.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we obviously there's 28 performances to go through here, so we're not gonna
we're gonna gloss through some
crazy detail on each one.
To be fair, some were disappointing.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, let's just go. First one was Doha from AOA. She will be the first to tell you that she was disappointed in her performance because she had that whiff with the skirt pull thing.
Yeah,
didn't come off, and then she was kind of shaky for the rest of it, probably as a result of that.
I had very high expectations just because she's such a veteran, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was very disappointed to watch like that awkward struggle of like, and then that was like when you started seeing Mnet was gonna constantly show Chaeyoung just doing the down on the controller, you know, because like that was the first thing they showed was like that happening, and then Chaeyoung going ding, 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 down on the thing to downvote her. I was like, oh great.
But I mean, in that case, it's like you know, and she was like when she pulled it the first time it didn't come, and then she pulled the second time, and she laughed, she smiled, she was like,
she's like, this is gonna be a bad one. Yeah.
Like she knew it is what it is.
Even without that kind of happening, I was still a little lackluster in general, just by the song, by the performance in general was kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kind of mix of the three eras of AOA that she did and stuff, and I think maybe just trying to. I think in general, a lot of them could have benefited from trying to separate themselves from their group or whatever, and doing songs from their group. I think Doha now as an artist should be forging her own identity rather than.
I think perhaps she just wanted to show, because there's a lot of like younger girls there. She maybe just wanted to like flaunt her mature sexiness on them, or something.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, I won't say anything about like what they've done since in the later rounds, because we'll just get to that when we cover those.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. I'll try to. I'll be able to catch up.
Yeah. But yeah, Doha got 11 upvotes, 16 downvotes. I think if anything, that was kind of generous. But yeah,
hers was lackluster, I guess would be like the word for it.
Yeah.
But we'll show later why I'm mad, because she had a worse mistake in my opinion than the person I believe deserves justice. Okay.
So next we had Zoa, Weekly's Maknae, who did the little intro on the skateboard from After School, which has become like, you know, an iconic part of the performance. And then she did FX's Rum Pum Pum Pum, which is a fucking classic tune.
I liked this performance because After School's a banger. So like you have to do is have that song play, and I'm pretty much sold. Even though it was just a small intro of her riding around on a skateboard, but still, she was very good though. I thought it was like very like cutesy ooh kind of performance of Rum Pum 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 almost. Like,
I mean, she's like barely 18 now.
She
But
did a
yeah,
good job there.
it was solid. Yeah, like I don't think she's like vocally that like crazy or like dance wise that strong, but she's
No, and
just
that
like
song isn't like one
solid.
where you're gonna flaunt like your vocals or anything
No, no,
either,
no.
too. Though
It's more just like about the charisma and stuff. And I think I think she did a good job. She got 16 up, 11 down. I think that's fair on balance.
Cheon definitely downvoted her.
Yeah, Chandler voted down on everyone.
We'll talk about that.
So then we had Jiwoo, one of the two members from Triple S, who's the youngest on the show, unless I'm not mistaken.
I'm gonna be honest, I
Um,
don't remember this one.
she just did a version of their song Rising. Um, yeah, I don't remember much either. I think didn't was she the one dressed as in like Michael Jackson style?
Yeah, that's right. I
And
think
then but
so.
she didn't really do anything with
She
that.
didn't do
Just did
anything
it.
Michael Jackson like
She
oriented.
just did
Yeah.
her own song, yeah.
The Triple S members in general across the board kind of seemed a little fresh to
Yeah,
the
they're a
industry.
bit rough around
You
the
know,
edges.
like yeah.
Yeah. But I mean that's to be expected, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they are fresh to the industry. I mean, Jiwoo was on My Teenage Girl as well, I think. But it's like yeah, they've just arrived basically, and this is they both of them are kind of just here for the ride and to get see their seniors and stuff. Like I think it's
Yeah, it's good practice to compete
cool opportunity for them for sure.
against like these senior artists for sure, and it's always unless you're like absolutely bombing, it's always good exposure. I feel like for your group.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, 7 up, 20 down. Again, I think that's probably fair. And then of course the up and down has like you got to take with a pinch of salt, especially when you have like multiple members from the same group who are going to be supporting each other. Unless you're Nana from Wua, who is like, "Nah, Wua, you suck."
We'll talk about that when we get there.
We'll get there when we get there. Yeah. But next was probably my favorite of all of the opening round. I think it was probably the most coherent performance overall, which was G1 from Cherry Bullet doing "Gotta Go" by Chung Ha. Smashed it. Like really cool use of like the props with the heels that she broke. Just a generally like well thought out stage. She herself is like she just oozes like sexy charm and charisma.
The song
like,
choice too, I feel is so important in something like this, and she nailed the song choice because like you gotta have something that kind of makes you like show off a little bit.
You gotta show your bits, yeah.
Yeah, and this was definitely like the right style of choice for that.
Yeah, because I mean, Chung Ha obviously is renowned as a dancer, right? So she has to nail the aspects of the choreography in order to like do tribute.
And her stuff always lets you show kind of more of like I guess you'd say like fierce or something side versus like the normal kind of like performance.
Yeah. But of course, then the song that she has, it does have that like sustained note. They're really trying to make you see, like, and Jiwon nailed it. So that obviously means that she's showing the performance aspect and good vocals. Like, yeah, a really really solid performance.
I agree that was a really good one. If I remember correctly, she stepped on one of the dancers in that one too, or is that later?
Yes.
Yeah, it was in that one, right?
Yeah.
They got paid, people.
Oh, but
that's another performance that I might be mistaken.
But she like lay down and the dude like lay and he like grabbed her thigh and it was a whole thing. Like
that was a really good one. I do remember liking that performance and that was elaborate with like actual like
it was a whole
choreography set up with a group dancing with her and stuff too, like versus some of the more soloist type of like performances.
So yeah, she got 24 up and 3 down. I think definitely deserved.
Dude, Cherry Bullet showed up. I'm just gonna say
they did absolutely. Next we had 2 Taemin performances. So first we had Suyeon doing Advice from Rocket Punch.
This one got some rough critiques, and I thought it was.
It did, yeah.
I thought it was like. You're doing Advice by Taemin. There's gonna be difficulties to be expected, and I thought she did a good job. Like I didn't expect like the Taemin quality of like movement or whatever, like
right. Yeah. And yeah, because I don't traditionally associate Suyeon as being incredibly like prominent dancer. To be honest, I don't really associate anyone in Rocket Punch as being a great dancer. I'm sorry,
Mm.
Rocket Punch. That's not what I think about. I see her as the one who stood out to me as like the vocalist in Rocket Punch, right? I think. Um, so that in itself is a challenge. I think the most common criticism I've heard is, and that I also kind of agree with, is that it didn't need to be pitch corrected or be pitch changed.
Mm.
Like, Advice is a high song. Like, I don't think a
Oh yeah,
woman
she could have
needs to.
sang in Taemin's
She could have
range.
sung in the
Yeah,
original
yeah,
key,
yeah.
and because when it gets to that really high, that really high bit that I'm not even going to attempt to do, but you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I agree with
it
that.
sounded almost grating because it was so high.
I guess the biggest problem I have with her performances, there's like a huge disparity in the voting between some performances that I think were worse than
Right.
hers and stuff, whereas hers I feel like got a little bit worse rating than some that deserved a lower rating than hers did.
Yeah, obviously, I think as the we don't know if it probably wasn't the case that the order we saw them in is the order that they saw them in, but I think there's an aspect of like
As
as
time goes
something goes
on, like
on, when
yeah.
it gets harder, harsher, and stuff. Yeah, because you have you get a benchmark to base it off, right? Like you see a really good one, you're like, oh well, this was worse than that, and then it goes down like that.
Yeah, for all you know, Bora went up right before her or something.
Right, it could have been, yeah. So yeah, she got 12 up and 15 down again. I think that is a bit harsh,
Yeah,
but
I thought it was better than that,
yeah.
personally.
Um, I wouldn't have separated it massively from the next one, which was Nana from UA doing Move, um, which again is definitely an
I
iconic
disagree. Nana
choreography.
doing move. Nana is a problem. I'm just gonna say that. Okay.
I warned you.
Going into the show, I was like, everyone's talking about Nana and like telling me all this. And I'm like, no, Nana's a problem.
Yeah, no, but Nana's it. No, don't get me wrong. Nana's a great dancer
Yeah.
and everything like that. But I mean, she got 19 up and 8 down, and I wouldn't have thought that the two of those performances were massively distinct in that regard. I thought they were both good. You know,
She
that's fine.
deserved 27 and 0.
Okay.
I'm just joking. I thought her performance was good. Nana.
It was, yeah.
I thought she did a good job pulling off that vibe. I guess it's
Yeah.
easy to be hot when you're hot, so it's not like it's like Taemin's move is
True,
very
yeah.
easy for Taemin because he's hot. So like
And
that's...
Taemin is made out of liquid, so that
Yeah.
helps. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's good. I think her isolation is really good. I think that's like an aspect that certainly stands out, and she has like crazy definition on her hips and stuff, which certainly makes it very like aesthetically pleasing to watch when she's doing that kind of choreo.
Yeah.
Vocals were good, but nothing
The
crazy.
problem when I watch anyone do a Taemin performance is his moves are so like ridiculously good that it's
Right.
hard for me to put that standard to like anyone doing
Yeah,
it.
you have to think of it less, just more in isolation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
But yeah, Nana certainly announced herself. And then we had Miss Downvote. We had Jaeyeon, who chose a really interesting song, and I love this. I mean, I really like that that the previous ones outside of Jiwoo and so chose different songs from different artists that aren't associated to them, right? So the Jaeyeon came on and did Lee Hyori. She did Talk Talk Talk, which is like an OG, like an old song, I loved that for her. And she did really well, like as we would expect. I mean, she's undoubtedly, or she was at least, undoubtedly the biggest, has the biggest pedigree on the show in terms of what she's known for and what she's accomplished.
yeah.
So it stands out that she was able to come in and do something with the great dancing we expect, and also her really solid vocals. Having said that, she herself was somewhat disappointed in it. Probably would have downvoted herself.
Yeah, I think
So-
I think going in, she probably thought she would get the highest amount of votes or something. Like she would nail the performance perfectly or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a really good performance. I actually personally, I just had a bit of a higher standard than I expected, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was like you said, it's not like she was gonna mess up really bad on anything.
Yeah.
It was just I felt like she could have she could have been someone who just like absolutely aced it, you
Just
know.
completely cleared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw her on Sunday, incidentally.
Oh,
Just,
like just
just
randomly in public.
no, in a concert.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
She
pretty
has
neat.
enough songs, I guess now, huh?
Well, it was a the RBW family concert. So
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
she did three
That's right. You
songs.
sent me the picture of Aaron.
Don't expose what I send you.
Yeah, everyone just sees Aaron and goes, ah.
It, no, it's like every member was introducing themselves, and everyone was like, "Wow, yeah, wow!" And then Aaron comes on, and everyone goes, "Wow, like she's pretty, really pretty."
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculously.
Anyway,
It always makes me think of Zoolander, ridiculously good
pretty,
looking.
pretty ridiculously good looking. All right.
Yeah, who was
So
after Cam?
next was the complete unknown like wildcard Phi, um, formerly of BNK48, the Bangkok chapter of AKB's.
Oh, I remember this performance. That's right. Yeah,
So
the
she
blue
came out
hair
and
she had and stuff, right?
yeah. So she came out and she did Hype Boy, which is the thing that she got famous for. She did
Online, yeah,
she
yeah.
did like a kind of soulful cover of Hype Boy and like got really popular on Instagram and stuff for it. She actually said recently that she got like cast for the show because some guy from Mnet just DM'd her like, "Hey, I work at Mnet. Come and be on Queendom." And she thought, she was like, "This is just some Korean man. Like, this
Like
is a
some
scam."
scam, like yeah,
So
DM.
the only reason that she just happened, she like normally she gets like, everyone gets scam DMs and stuff, and she was like about to just block and report or whatever, and then she like saw that the dude had like a decent number of followers, so she's like, oh, maybe it's not like a bot account or whatever. So she just went on the profile and saw that he actually had like an Mnet thing, and she was like, wait, is this fucking
Just
real? Like,
legit. That's hilarious to me that is the way that they reach out to someone for a show like that,
yeah,
not
just
like super
DM them.
professionally through like a label or organization or anything
Some
like
guy,
that. Like,
just Jim from accounts will message like. But
and then he has like the pull to just be like, "Yo, let me go DM her and see if she'll be on Queens."
it was a complete wild card. I think it's Mnet's hoping to try and tap more into the Southeast Asia market, which is certainly a big one. But Fly is a curious choice for that because she's not exactly the most popular girl in Thailand, as she's had some controversies in the past, especially when she was at BNK48. Like she was kind of unceremoniously booted out of the group because
well, I guess it's not like they're gonna get Lisa. It's not like they're gonna get Minnie.
No, of course not. But it's
maybe Natty somehow they could have, except she was just debuting in a new group, so it's like
Natty's busy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, well, I don't know. But either way, I've been nothing but impressed with how she's.
Yeah, I
been
thought
on
she
the
did a
show.
good job.
The song that she did have her own. She did one of her own songs that she's released as like an independent artist. I mean, that was ass. Sorry, but she certainly showed that I think she's much more proficient as a vocalist than as a rapper. Like her tone when she was singing Hype Boy was like nice and like enjoyable, and then the rap vert style that she did wasn't as good. But I think she herself has admitted to that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, certainly she's the one is most out of her depth, but I think she held up pretty well.
Yeah, because she's gonna have a big language barrier the whole time to get over.
Yeah, she's speaking English to them and like trying to as a middle ground, and it's not like the
this
average
isn't
idol
like this is a different type of show to be someone having like language difficulties because it's straight up a competition like between artists already, like not like, oh, we're just like forming like a girls planet or something like that, like this is like they are competing every round just in performance against each other.
But yeah, certainly a good leg into the industry for her either way. So she got 16 up and 11 down. I think that's reasonable. Next one is the one you can get really mad about. We have Rena from Nike. And she came on, she did part of Rose Blossom, which is Nike's big #1 song, and some Pop by Nayeon. And she unfortunately had a bit of a voice crack.
I will not quit until #justice for Rena is trending. Okay, it is.
It unfortunately soured on otherwise very.
Rating she got was so unwarranted in my opinion because I could understand if it was just this lackluster performance and that happened and you're like, oh, fuck, like, this is all just terrible or something, you know? She was doing a good job. Like, it was like, I was enjoying the performance, and unfortunately, in that moment, there's a tiny slip, but she got right back into it, finished it out, smoothed it out at the end, very professional like. So I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting her to get like a perfect score, but she got way too harshly scored
She
for
got
that.
eight up and 19 down.
Yeah,
But what I will say is that was enough for her to go up in from like the level 4 to level 3.
I understand.
So I think on balance, I think the fact that she went up a level is still a testament to that she did a good job overall.
Yeah, just at that
So
time when she got rated, and I had seen some other performances rated, and I was kind of like, she didn't.
I get it.
Yeah,
I
it
get
was.
it.
It wasn't warranting that low, in my opinion.
But don't worry, Rena's time will come.
Yeah. I also
Um,
always stand a short hair queen, as we know. So
of course
it's
you do.
like,
You know, she when they first released the like signal songs and stuff, it was like, oh, okay, she's making points. I thought she was Japanese, which obviously caused the whole problem, but no, it's fine. Anyway, then we had Jihan from Weekly, who has an almost completely opposite vibe and is just like this ray of sunshine, and who did the same song. So
who did
she,
bop bop da bop ba
yeah,
da?
presented pop by Nion in a different way, shall we say. And I thought she did really well. I think she was very solid.
I thought, yeah, the it was a good performance. There's the only problem I have sometimes with a song like pop or whatever, because Nion's a great vocalist and obviously can hit some crazy notes, but that song in general doesn't exactly have anything where you're like really flaunting like insane prowess or anything. I would say it's much more cutesy, constant, like moved it. So I do feel like it is a little bit easier if you can pull off that style really well to just be like, all right, here's a super solid performance or something, which is fine to go into a competition show like that. I just always want everyone in the competition show to be like, I'm gonna show like my most out there,
Go
like,
crazy,
best performance because this is a competition show or something. Whereas that one felt like she could just do this whenever, you know, kind of like thing or something, you know.
Yeah, for an intro, I think fair enough. And
I feel like Logan's gonna like murder me in my sleep because I said first time I said this was about a week.
It's also a lot of them are doing this for the first time. And actually, was Gian on Mix 9?
It was a good performance, Logan. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, it was solid. That's the thing. So she got 17 up, 10 down. I think that's a very good score, really. Yeah, and then we had Wooyeon from Wua, who had inadvertently chosen to do INVU by Taeyeon without knowing that the MC for the show was going to be Taeyeon, who would be sat opposite her as she attempted to do, even by Taeyeon standards, a pretty vocally challenging song.
It could have been such a wonderful moment. You could see really like the pride in Taeyeon's eyes, the joy there, like, oh, this cute little girl's gonna play my song, and then it was just like got to that high note part, and hearing that backing track play as she's just dancing, I was like, why do it? Why do the song?
Yeah, like, I mean, the thing is, I think as a singer, you know
what you can do.
You know if you don't have something in that moment, right? Like, you know, if you're singing and you're like, oh wait, my voice is not at its where it should be. If I try and sing this song, I'm gonna butcher it. And of course, as soon as you get into that headspace, you are fucked. Like, singing is a lot about confidence.
In a performance setting like that, it is better to have tried and failed than to have not tried at all. It is.
I'm inclined to agree, and I think as a principle, you know, you're there as a singer, like, you've got to try.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a competition. You have to commit to that.
Yeah, like, you're not getting eliminated if you fuck it up, but like not trying, I think it makes it look worse.
You have to know if you're doing that song and that's how you do that section, that's just gonna be lackluster in every sense. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to have that big moment in the song come and then they just hear this ambient backing track. You know what I mean? Like, that's not...
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
especially it's because it's also in front of Taeyeon that just makes it so much like worse
Yeah.
for
I
me.
mean, she couldn't have planned for that, obviously, and that undoubtedly she could have nailed it in practice 99 times out of 100, and then but all that practice means nothing when you're looking into the eyes of the original
Yeah.
artist.
And
You
when
know?
it started, I was so like, hi, there's like, oh my god, I envy you in front of Taeyeon. Like, she's doing a good job. Like, she's doing a good job right now. Like, singing the part. Like, everything was good up to that section. It's not like she was doing bad.
She was doing fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that happened. I was just like, ugh. Just made me like bury
Really?
my face in my hand.
Yeah, I think out of all of them, this was the performance that I was like most against, just because of that. I
Yeah, I just
obviously
disagree with
hold
doing
nothing
that.
against Leon, but
I just disagree with doing that. With
yeah,
don't do that type of song if you're not gonna do that note.
Yeah.
It's like doing my
So,
C and then that part comes and you're just like,
I'm just not doing it. Yeah,
and then like,
I mean, you've got to be like June. You've got to try, even if you miss, right?
You have to go for it.
Yeah.
Taeyeon at least was very like
Very
heartwarming
gracious.
to her
Very
afterwards and stuff, and like applauded her and stuff because Taeyeon is a saint. Sorry, moving on.
You're gonna get that on your truck, aren't you? You're gonna.
Oh, Taeyeon is a saint. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna plaster like in the U.S. Everyone has their stupid like political stickers on the back, and I'm just gonna have a giant thing that says Taeyeon is a savior and saint on the back of my car.
knowing the US, you probably have a bunch of people willing to sign up for whatever religion that's offering.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I could go sign up for like no tax religion right now for
Taeyeon. And you could live in a compound and sleep with everyone's wives.
Moving on.
Anyway, yeah. So next was Yono, who came out and did a little bit of As He Wish, which is like the WJSN track, of course. And then she did Kai, which is probably like as different from the typical WJSN track as you could expect. Yeah, she smashed it like kind of as we'd expect.
Do I even have to say anything? It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
A queen was there.
Literally.
Right? That's like she already won. Okay, before she stepped in the door. Like I don't. Yordam is obviously like a clear fave of mine.
Yeah.
I don't even I highly expect her to be in the final lineup. To not happen would be an extreme disappointment, I feel like.
Yeah, it'd be very surprising if she doesn't make it.
Yeah.
They should have given her a little crown or something to wear, just to indicate that she's literally
just a little mini before. Like princess crown.
Yeah. Well, like how in Queendom when they had like Minhyuk just constantly surrounded by a halo or whatever, and they kept that going even when he was like a guest judge or whatever. They still had they should do that. Like they should have done that for her. Just give her a little crown. Anyway, but she killed it. Obviously, like she didn't get to show. I mean, she's always been known for her dance. She's never been known for her vocals.
Yeah, she's not gonna probably have any like belting a high note kind of like moment, but Yordam doesn't have to. I mean, her stage presence is enough. Just so, like...
Yeah, for sure. So she got 24 up and 3 down, which so same as G1. I think on balance, I think I still prefer G1's performance, but Yordam very solid for sure. Then after that, we had someone who absolutely will be belting all the notes, which was Bora, who. But at this point, like, Bora's been doing these shows and stuff now to the point that everyone knows, she's going to come out and she's going to sing.
Yeah.
She's going to sing in a way that many idols nowadays don't.
I love that my C is just the choice now. Like, I'm about to flex on all of you. Like, or whatever. Like,
I don't know if you remember this, but so obviously after the devastating shame that was the Girls Planet My C performance, and I will be meeting Ji-yoon face to face in a couple of weeks, which is going to be an interesting. I've met her before instantly, but I haven't had a chance to actually talk, and I'm debating if I'm going to talk to her about it or not. And I kind of want to, but anyway, but Bora did it at like they had like a Girls Planet fan meeting before the final, and she like just did it like on the stage there, even though she
off
wasn't
the cuff, just like
yeah. So now it's kind of become like a bit of a mini association thing with her. But obviously, not only did she do the song, she like even added to it, right? Because that first like Montessori, yeah, she like then rose it, she like pitched it up again. Which Eminem obviously used that clip about 100 times
as they
after
should.
that.
The one of the few times I agree with their
Yeah, so
like,
obviously she smashed it. Like, I mean, it's like there's not much else to say. But I think what was good about it is that she could have just stood there and sung and gotten a super high score, but she still incorporated it into a whole performance, right? Like she had this whole thing about like a letter and stuff and being something like that. She stands there and belts that final note and then immediately like rushes off and puts the letter in the letterbox. Like she kept the performance theme going and everything like that, which is what I think makes it really impressive.
Obviously, though, I mean, she did it. She hit the note.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And didn't just hit it, like smashed the note. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and not imagine if she had just like strolled up and changed to INVU just to hit that note.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine if she did that? Oh my god, that would have been so messed up. I'm sorry, I just like imagine how bad.
For being the ultimate villain, the arc that we're playing. Yeah.
She didn't have to. My C's the perfect song to just flex like I'm here to outsing all of you right now. Like, and she did. It was incredible. I thought in my opinion that was the best performance. I do have some bias there.
I mean, obviously I love Bora too. I felt like G1's was more cohesive as a whole performance.
I get that, but I also feel like you gotta show your like tips of your like abilities, like what is like the edge, and Bora just showed like
show your strength, and she didn't just sing, like say like she had that, she was like at one point she was being lifted into the air and she was still singing, like she's remarkably talented, and it's kind of crazy that she is where she is in the industry when she's
just think about Cherry Bullet has both those like members, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, kind of nuts. But yeah, so she got 25 up and 2 down. Obviously, we know that Cheon was one of the downvotes, and I would love to see Cheon do my scene and see if she does it.
Of all the downvotes, that one is just so baffling because at least if it's dancing or something, I might understand her mindset. But there's no way Cheon believes she could outsing Bora in that song. I just don't believe that for a second.
I'm curious about who the other one is, the other downvote, but I don't know. We'll find out. I guess
she had to have downvoted Yordam too, right?
Cheon downvoted everyone.
Yeah.
I'm wondering who.
The singing ones are so interesting to me because I wouldn't consider Cheon a strong vocalist.
She is a good singer.
No, I'm not saying she's a bad. I'm just saying there's no way in hell she's hitting like the My C and no like Bora did or whatever.
I respect the idea of like having confidence in yourself. You're like, I'm better than these people.
But that's cap.
But yeah, and then I think maybe the other aspect was like maybe some like tactical downvoting, like maybe Yoram is like, I got my score of 24 and she's a threat to me, so I'm gonna downvote her. Maybe.
No, I get it. I'm sure if anything there's some logical explanation behind it, but
it doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She left the show completely.
Yeah. So next I think we have definitely a fan favorite, I think, like because she's just so tapped, like her personality is just so wild and she's just like a natural entertainer, which is of course Judy of Rocket Punch, formerly of AKB48.
Oh my god, I loved when she walked out with the fake.
Came out with the Yeonhee and Suyeon, like just like she's just a complete lunatic. But like she has, I mean, it's that thing what made AKB so popular and successful. It's not their performance ability, it's their
personality
ability, it's just them as people and how they're able to make people laugh and engage them, and she's exceptionally good at that. She's so funny. It's like almost anytime she's on screen she's saying something funny or doing something funny. It's just she's very, very entertaining. And she came out and she did obviously she did Heartburn by Sunmi, which
The outfit and hair definitely. The whole time I was like,
the
she
bright
can't.
orange hair.
I was like,
yeah.
please. I was like, I can't survive my favorite Rocket Punch member doing Sunmi right now. This was like Judy coming out and doing that.
And the thing is, like Jury doesn't really get much opportunity in Rocket Punch songs in general, but she has a really cool voice. Like, she's not like the most technically gifted singer ever, but she has a really nice tone.
Yeah, she has a good tonal quality for sure.
Yeah. And I think she was kind of. I think what let her down here was the dance. She slipped off beat a few times. I think that to normal, people like us watching, we don't really care or notice as much, but especially for seasoned dancers watching, she's off beat, downvote.
Yeah.
So she got 7 up and 20 down, which I think is harsh. Still.
Yeah, she definitely deserved more.
Yeah,
like I said, the voting disparity sometimes was interesting.
Notable, yeah.
But in her case too, I was always gonna be happy because it's my favorite member doing Sunmi. So it's like I don't even it was always gonna make me enjoy the performance. But
yeah, but I'm just happy that Jury's even on the on a show again like this
and then her members eventually show.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
it's a funny thing to watch that transition.
Yeah. So next, we have one of her members, of course, Yeonhee, who came out dressed as like Barbie, she literally looked like Yeon in Good Girl when she did Barbie. Yeah. But she came out and did Dum Dum by Somi, which definitely fit the vibe because Somi is very much like a Barbie type. But then, of course, she turned it into like a very sexy thing, and she, took the coat and stuff off.
Oh, okay. When you said, I remember this one, the Dum Dum.
Her shoe broke like at the very start. Remember the shoe popped, the buckle popped like perfectly on beat.
Which I thought she did a good job considering she had to recover from that the entire time or whatever.
It wasn't even noticeable that it was the thing that happened.
But she did get some down votes, and then I remember people afterwards were like, "Oh, of course, because the shoe came off. I feel so sorry for her," kind of thing and stuff.
But I don't feel like that was the reason she was necessarily getting down votes.
Yeah.
But either I thought it was a solid performance. But I think Yeonhee is maybe trying a little too hard to make herself fit a sexy image that she's not necessarily that suited to, if that makes sense.
No, I get it.
Feels like she wants to be like Ji-won from Cherry Bullet is, and she's not that vibe. She doesn't have that kind of obviously she's an extremely attractive woman, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're good at doing sexy stuff. You know what I
mean? No. Sexy doesn't even always have to do with your look as much as just like the way you could. The confidence in the movement and stuff,
So, I mean, I know that Cherry Bullet hang out with Saebom a lot, so I'm going to blame her.
Makes sense.
And maybe suggest that Yeonhee should spend some time with...
Saebom should have been on this show, but then I would have died.
Saebom was out vacationing somewhere, I don't know. Doing whatever. Yeah, so she got 12 down, 15 up. No, 12 up, 15 down. I think fair,
even break, kind of, almost.
More or less. The next ones we had were pretty much, they were the same score, and I think they were kind of quite quickly done because they were both, as you would expect from something that was kind of in the middle, just a very just good average performance, basically. Nothing crazy good, nothing crazy bad, which was Soen from Weekly doing 28 Reasons, Seulgi and Soojin from Weekly doing Flower by Jisoo.
I thought Soen did a really good job. But I love 28 Reasons so much. And I knew what was happening the second I saw the outfit. So it was like... Right. But that's the problem I have with songs I like that much, is unless you just eat shit on stage or something, I'm going to really enjoy it.
But for me, it's the same problem that we had with Taemin, right? Where it's like Seulgi is such an iconic performer.
I did have a problem with when you hear the voice and Seulgi's voice doesn't come out,
right?
And it's a Seulgi song, and I'm like, wait a minute, where's the voice from heaven? That is
it's like there's something about certain artists, which is I think why people like Seulgi and Taemin are held in such high esteem, that they're difficult to cover because of how strong they are. Like, it makes it difficult.
I actually like Sode's vocal tone covering it. Like I obviously it's nowhere near like being Solgi or anything like that, but I thought her tone suited doing that style decently.
Yeah,
I guess that's why I enjoyed it, because if you come out and you sing that song and then your tonal quality doesn't suit that at all, then you're just like, oh. It's like, why are you doing 28 Reasons or something, like. But when she did like that da trouble, you have to have that kind of smooth roll to your voice over that, and some people have too much power when they try a part like that. Solgi is not even about having like a bunch of power belt or anything in a part like that, and I felt like she didn't try to like belt out a Solgi song or something.
no. Yeah, but I guess maybe that's the other thing, is like that's probably why there was nothing in there to like help her really.
No, it's not like she displayed anything in that performance where she totally showed all her talent or anything like that. But
yeah.
I get what you mean. I just thought I thought it was a decent performance.
Yeah, so 13 down, 13 up, 14 down. Maybe the other could have gone the other way.
Break, kind of.
Yeah. Then we had Seon from Triple S, who did their song Cherry Talk, and she got, I think it was kind of harsh, but like it was obviously it was like I said earlier, it was very like rough around the edges, right? It was a performance of someone who's just freshly,
because of the style of show it is, I think is why she got such a harsh vote or whatever, because it almost seemed like a practice kind of thing, or something happening in the middle of a very rigid competition.
It just wasn't like, quite
it's not the place or something,
it just felt like a solo version of a music show. Yes, but I think maybe still she got a pretty harsh reception. She only got 2 upvotes, one of which would have been from her other member, and then 25 down. And the other one up would have been from Miru, who voted up for everyone.
Miru is an angel.
Because Miru is a goddamn icon. So it's like I said, it is what it is for those two. I think they're both quite just happy to be there, and get the experience and stuff. They're probably not going to let that get to them.
Yeah.
After her, we had Mira herself, who did her own song, Shine Bright.
I remember the outfit more than anything. Strolled out in like leather jacket, like I'm a bad bitch look kind of thing, you know. And then you have the bubbly personality of Mir, but she very quickly does switch like vibe, when she went into performance. But not bad, not great. Is that like
I think she I mean, it was just her. Like she just came out by herself and did her own song.
Yeah.
Which is obviously like a bold statement, it's a bold thing to do. But I think, probably didn't help her in getting a good score or anything like that. But certainly showed what she's about.
Plus, I just like Vita, so I want her to do really well throughout the whole show. So it's I wanted her to do something a little bit more performance-wise, but
So 5 up, 22 down. I think maybe a bit.
I think it's gonna be a bit hard for her, just technique-wise, compared to some other people and stuff, like with singing and dancing and everything.
Yeah, well, obviously, like, it's not her first rodeo.
No, I get that. I just don't feel like she's probably not overly strong in either one, I would say. Like,
but the thing is, well, she obviously she did produce 48 before, and by the end of that, she was pretty good. But I think it's just, in this case, it's probably just about getting the rust off and kind of getting back to where the level that she can be at.
Yeah. I hope so. She's such a likable person, so you want her to do well.
It's the same thing with Jury, right? It's like the 48 idols are just such good entertainers, and just such nice.
Their interaction when they were like trying to speak in Korean, then they switched to Japanese was hilarious with each other.
Yeah. Jury like trying to remember. She's like, "Wait, can I even speak?" It's
like Taeyeon was like, "You can go ahead and talk in Japanese."
Yeah.
They needed Goddess Taeyeon to give them the permission. That's what they were waiting for.
Then we have another Japanese member. After that, we had Yuki of Purple Kiss, who was presented as one of the 3 rappers on the show who all performed in, or all whose performances were shown one after the other here. But she came out and she did "Who Cares," which is the solo song that she
Pre-promotion
did.
song or something, right?
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember when Publicus were getting ready to debut, they all had a solo release,
Yeah.
and that not release, but they all had a solo song that came out, and then they had like, more.
I was disappointed in this one.
Yeah, I don't think it was the best choice. I'll say that.
She's too good for that like song choice. Like I feel like she could have definitely picked something really strong and like came out and really. She's someone who could really do like the I'm bad vibe kind of thing or something.
Yeah.
She could have pulled that off stronger than like anyone there really if she came out.
Yeah, and I think maybe because it's like it's her first song and it's a song that she wrote and stuff, so it's like personal for her and all that. And I think she has the capability to have written a song just for this, and which obviously would have gotten her some plus points. But yeah, I think she didn't quite show what she's capable of from this alone.
I wanted her to stroll out and do Goddess a Day.
She's still got 13 up and 14 down, so like it's still a solid.
No, it wasn't even like it was a bad performance. I think it's just because I had the highest expectations. And then it was just like, okay.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I know she could do way better throughout the show. Like,
yeah,
she's definitely one of the stronger contestants on there that can definitely show some like good performances.
For sure. And I mean, like we said, like there's only 3 out and out rappers on here, and I think most people are including either her or Yeon in there. Like this would have the main rapper position in the final group type thing.
Yeah.
So next we had Sanger of Lightsome, who inadvertently came out and did a performance of a song in front of the original artist. As she came out and did not just Black Dress by CLC, but specifically Yeon's verse from Black Dress by CLC with Yeon right there.
Okay, so yeah, because she's on Cube because Lightsome is, and then they kept calling her like Little So Young.
That was the name. That was like the initial nickname she chose for herself. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I just you can't. I'm sorry. Like you.
I get it. I get that. That it's like an opportunity for Lightsome to get some recognition, and like using Soyeon's name is certainly a way to do that. But I feel like
she had that nickname coming out, I was like, oh, okay, like we better get some like major like hip hop going right now, some really good like rap right now, and then it was kind of just did not meet those expectations.
I think Sangai is good, but I personally don't really like her tone.
She definitely sounds like, does not remind me of So Young. Like,
no. But, I mean, not tonally, but I mean, like, she sounds like she's always congested, and I'm just not a massive fan of that. So the way that sounds, unfortunately,
it wasn't her tone that bothered me or anything. I just don't think So Young has a very strong flow.
Yeah, I mean, I think the name alone, that comparison is just like a buzz.
No, I understand. I shouldn't take that comparison seriously or anything. Yeah. It's just they kept flashing it on the screen, and I was just like, I better get like an epic performance right now, and I did not.
And she did then do Tomboy, which I think was the better part of the performance compared to Black. I think she forgot some of the lyrics in Black Dress.
I also just was not a big fan of the constant song shifting and stuff either, though.
Yeah,
like
stick with one and do it. Yeah, I agree. But all in all, I think it was like it's on the below average side of things. I think the score it got 11 up, 16 down. I think is fair on balance. Then we had Yeon come out and do Cherry Coke.
Yeah, this was another one where I know how good Yeon is, and like we've seen her just fucking destroy, And Cherry Coke, doing your own song, I get it. It's like a good promotion and stuff. I just would have liked her to actually do something a little more like harsh, I guess, or something maybe. It felt like I saw a performance that I would see on like Weekly Countdown or like what is this, the M Countdown or something on a competition show, basically.
Yeah, I mean, because she's got such a charisma on stage. Like her energy as a performer is so cool. But I kind of felt this way about her songs in general, that they didn't show off her capabilities. Like she's a great rapper and she's a good singer,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like those songs really showed either of those. So obviously it's cool that she came out and could do her own song. You know, that's obviously a neat aspect of it. Um, but yeah, I think it just felt a little lackluster. Yeah.
I don't think it was a song that suited like competition very well or
Hmm.
whatever. Like I
Yeah.
get that it's her own song, she wanted to do it, but yeah.
Yeah. She still ended up doing great though, 'cause she got
No,
19 upvotes.
I thought it was still it's Ye and she was gonna be
Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna do well.
super good, like performance wise. She has a bunch of charisma.
Yeah.
When she's got Riz dropping out when she's performing, all right. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
basically.
Fucking, what is that? Is that that's the new Zoomer term, right?
Um then we had Hayen from Laboom, who along with Cheon is the other one who left the show after this, unfortunately. Though no reason was given. So she did part of Journey to Atlantis, which is like, Laboom's famous song. Um, and then she also did part of just like the instrumental of Between Us, which is another one of their songs that she just danced to it. Um, and it wasn't the best because I feel like she made the mistake of like, oh, I have to do Journey to Atlantis because everyone's going to expect that, even though her trying to solo sing it and stuff, and she's not the main vocalist or anything like that. It's like not really what showing her stronger capabilities. And then by the time she did Between Us and she only did the dance section of it, it felt a bit disjointed and a bit kind of like she hadn't really shown what she's truly capable of. So stood to reason why she would only get 5 upvotes for her.
Really depressing because I watched that performance and then everyone in the chat was like, "Oh, she's not on the show anymore." So I was like, "Oh, so she doesn't even get any redemption. It's just like a bad performance and then I'm out of the show."
Unfortunately, and it's such a shame as well because she was on Girls Reverse just before this, and she was like really good on it, and like her character was like super popular, and loads of people were like really supporting her. And it was like, oh, this is could be really good for her, but also like Laboom are kind of in an awkward state of limbo at the moment. So
And she was the only one from Laboom there, so now
yeah,
it's just like zero Laboom representation at all.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So yeah, it's just a shame,
I wonder if
unfortunately.
she left just she felt like pressure from it or
Yeah, I
something.
don't know. I don't know. I
Like
hope she's all right.
Cheon's like kind of understandable because she doesn't need the show or anything, and she can
Yeah,
kind of just be fine on her own and everything. But in her case, it's like you kind of need promotion. Like you,
yeah.
it's interesting.
Then we had the other Cherry Bullet member on the show, Chedin, who came out and also did a Chungha song. She chose to do Bicycle.
So I mean, I love Bicycle. That song's so good. That song's a banger, and I actually thought like she's kind of out of all the Cherry Bullet members that showed up and had like really fierce like performances. She kind of didn't live up, I guess, to their standards of it.
Yeah.
You'd say like it almost
Yeah.
was like a perfect hat trick
It's
if she could have
yeah.
just like sweeped it, like. But
Yeah, a bit of a shame, I guess, because the bar had been set so high by
by
Trevor
her
that
other two members, yeah.
if she had come out and like smashed it in the same way, it
It
would have
made a
been like
statement for sure for Cherry Bullet, like which they still did make
yeah,
a statement, but yeah.
they did, and I think it would have been I don't know she's not like the strongest member and she hasn't done that kind of thing before, whereas we've had other Cherry Bullet members who've done more prominent shows and stuff and like have like clear strengths, I guess. I mean, I'm biased obviously, but I would have loved to see Remy because Remy's already gotten a reputation for dancing, especially for voguing and stuff, and she could have done that, and that would have been a different spin on it, like a different type of performance and stuff. That I think that would have been really cool. But anyway, no point talking about what I wish could have been. As it was, yeah, it was a little bit lackluster.
And I wanted Monday from Weekly. We don't always get what we want. Okay.
Yeah, so she got 4 up and 23 down. And probably maybe a bit harsh on balance, but it is what it is.
It was 4 and 23 for that one.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I guess a bit rough.
I don't remember it being anywhere near that bad.
Uh,
That's where like some of the voting disparity was just like, geez, like when something ended, it was like it's not like she fell on stage and like fucking, like a little more evenness on that. I guess maybe because the other Cherry Bullet members, they were like, oh, this one's about to smash it too, and then it was just
yeah. The next one again, I think also had a pretty big disparity in for voting. So this was Ellie from Wiki Meki, who came out.
Justice for short hair queens, dude. Justice for Rena. Justice for Ellie. I swear.
So she had a wild song choice. So she chose the legendary song "Sonata of Temptation" by Ivy, and this is like.
Do you think the song choice was one of the things that kind of made her get just like kind of a?
I don't know, because I feel like everyone loves that song, so it's like immediately that creates a good mood, And I don't think she did badly at all. I can't remember if there was any notable mistake or anything like that. I think maybe it was like.
I'm curious if the song choice, because I feel like there's probably some there who didn't know the song or something.
I don't know. I think everyone in Korea knows that song.
I guess there's how many foreign members are there?
Maybe only like 5 or Miru might not have known it, but I feel like everyone else. But anyway, I think maybe it was the way that it was like remix and she didn't do that like much. I think what Ellie's shown is that her strongest suit is her vocals, and she maybe didn't get to show enough of it in the performance in the way that it was structured.
Yeah.
But she also she got 4 up and 23 down, which I think is pretty harsh. But
yeah, once again, I don't remember for both Bicycle and that one. I don't think they were anywhere near that bad. Like, so the voting was just kind of like towards the end there. People were just getting like throwing daggers down there.
yeah. So 3 to go. We had Dewey, of course, formerly of Momoland, who also did a Sunmi song. She came out and did 24 Hours.
I wanted to love this so much. It had all the things falling right, like, here we go. You have me hooked. Like, you got 24 hours. You're the beginning, I thought it was going to happen, I thought, here we go. Like, I thought it started really solid, and then
she started falling off.
Yeah, just completely tapered towards the end.
Yeah.
And, like, awkwardly, kind of, like...
It's almost like... It's like she forgot to breathe properly or something.
Yeah, she totally... It seemed like she lost her, like, awareness of where she was at for a moment. Like...
It's like she suddenly just stopped being able to, like, properly breathe and, like, push her voice out and stuff, and it just... it's a shame as well, because I think you've been watching Second World, and you know that she's quite capable of doing a pretty wide range of
that's why, because I've also been like enjoying seeing Jui on that show, and then just to the difference of that, it was like it was a huge disappointment for me.
And there is the added thing that she's like fully independent at the moment. She's straight up driving herself there and stuff, like she's not even, she has no staff or anything, she's just doing it by herself. So obviously, like, I really want to root for her, but the performance it did fall off, unfortunately.
It's really interesting when someone chooses Sunmi. I love it, obviously, but I feel like Sunmi has kind of a swag or something that you have to really nail, and if you don't, it's going to be bad. Yeah,
you can't second guess yourself at any point.
No, Sunmi's performances are very confident performances.
Yes,
like, you cannot.
Sunmi does not lack the confidence.
No, it is. That's why it's weird if someone makes that kind of mistake in a Sunmi performance. It really just takes you completely out.
I think because Jui's current like position in life is one of great uncertainty, that is gonna have an impact on her confidence in general. Like, she's unsure of what the future holds, right? So,
I felt so bad because afterwards she was like, oh, I've failed like the first tier like representation,
Yeah.
you
Hag,
know, and I felt
hag.
like so bad, dude. I felt so bad watching that afterwards, where she walked up to all them and she's like, "I'm sorry, like I'm a
Yeah.
disappointment," and stuff. I was like, God, no,
Yeah.
don't stop. I was like, and the
Don't stop.
awkward walk back to like, what tier did she end up in? Like
She went all the way down to 4. Yeah.
yeah. I
It's
really
rough.
hope
But
she recovers.
redemption arc is ready. It's ready. We can see it happening.
I hope so. I hope so.
So 2 more. I think this one has probably made arguably the biggest splash, at least in terms of like the people who weren't familiar with her before are now kind of hopping on board and becoming fans. Is Hisa from Haiki, who came out and did again part of Rose Blossom, same as what Rina did, and then into Tomboy again. But killed it basically.
Yeah, why is Tomboy like the "I'm gonna smash a song in out of nowhere" like song? Like I've seen that a lot. I guess because it has such an instant cut to the chorus.
Yeah, yeah, you can just drop that in.
But
you
it's
just
also
drop that
sometimes
in,
awkward
yeah.
for me, just like kind of like to just shift like that. But this performance was good. Yes, I do remember this one.
Yeah, I think it works. I mean, again, it probably didn't need the Rose Blossom intro, but it was good nonetheless. And I think she showed a wider range of the song than Sangha did. Sangha focused more specifically on just Soyeon's part and like the chorus part, but Hwissa gave us like the pre-chorus where you actually hear her singing properly, and she's got a good voice, like she can sing. So yeah, I think she
had the part, right? That part really hooks you in too. Like,
exactly. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, she's been very impressive. Again, I mean, I won't say anything else about like what comes in the next rounds and stuff. But
I thought Rena was good too. So hashtag justice for
Rena
as well.
I mean, Haiki in general, I think have shown everyone that they are made of some good stuff. You know, they've got some ability. Yeah, so she got 23 up and 4 down, so very went from level 4 to level 1. So certainly Haiki are definitely going to be people are going to have a lot of eyes on them. I think
it's interesting to watch like
in this show.
2 Cherry Bullet members and someone from like Haiki get very dominant scores,
right? Because it's not who you traditionally associate with doing so well, right? Yeah, like Yoram, you're like, okay, it's Yoram.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
Yoram, K, and like certain, you're just like, okay, fine. You're gonna be like, you're gonna be nailing some stuff through here. Like it's
Well, speaking of K was of course the last one. K of Lovelies. I think the only other person on the show who is on Bora's level vocally. I actually think K is probably. It's tough. I think K is probably a better vocalist technically. I think she has better control over her voice and stuff, but Bora can hit those like crazy notes and stuff that makes it like great on a performance level.
Bora can do that like power moment, you know, sure. Like where you're like, oh, you know, something kind of just makes you jolt your shoulders up when you hear that.
Exactly. But Kay has like incredible control over her voice. Like it's very impressive. But I think in this performance, she did Destiny, of course, which is an iconic Lovely song, and in Queendom terms, an iconic Oh My Girl song. But then she didn't sing in the chorus. Like she didn't do the full chorus part, like singing along to it, which I think left everyone kind of feeling like she had.
Kay didn't play to her strengths nearly as well as Bora did.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Kay's just been doing musicals and stuff. Like she could come out and try and belt like that, and it would have been like a kind of a belting battle. But I respect that Kay wanted to pay tribute to.
You could almost see the cogs churning in like Kay's head watching Bora and thinking like, oh, maybe I should have
done something else.
Something where I'm really gonna belt it out because she's just like nailed.
She's good. Yeah. There's a pretty cute moment that you'll see later on where Bora is telling Kay that she like really looks up to her and stuff like that. It's very sweet.
Yeah, I'm not down with this Mnet evil editing of Bora that I was getting in the.
Well, Bora forced herself out of being evil edited.
Bora is a saint. I know I've thrown that around like 3 times today.
the
One of
patron
my
saint.
vehicles is gonna have Bora or Taeyeon as a saint on it.
Well, fortunately, FNC is just around the corner from SM, so you can do two in
Oh, I'll
one
just
day. No
send two
problem.
trucks,
Yeah,
as people do now.
easy.
It seems.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So she got 18 up and 9 down. I think probably fair on balance. Um, and yeah, that's it. That's the first round.
Um, Obviously you've seen more of the show than me. I'm going to kind of to conclude this episode. I'm going to make a prediction on what I think just from the first round of performances could be a final lineup.
Okay.
How many members? There's going to be
7.
seven. Okay. I if I was to do it just from those first round, I would say Bora, obviously,
Okay.
Yordam, obviously, Jiwon,
Okay.
and that's like my three right now. I'm confident throughout the show could for sure be in the final lineup. As for who I'm surprised I would put in there after watching those first rounds, Nana.
Okay.
I was just not expecting to be just like a force of nature that came strolling in. There's some I would obviously love to see, but I'm just not sure about them, like Miru and people like that.
Right. It's like I would love for Miro or someone to make it,
I
but
would
like,
love to see it. I'm just like I can't commit to that as a final lineup from what I saw in the first round. Um, Listen, I'm gonna throw in Rena because she had
okay.
some dirty,
I
unjust
understand. Yeah.
thrown out there. That's my five right now.
Yeah.
If I had two more, God, I would love to see like Julie or someone have an incredible redemption arc and stuff. But I'm gonna say K,
Okay.
and then I have one more slot, right? If I'm committed, this is just from first round.
Yeah.
I'd have to give it. What was her name from High Key?
Lisa.
Lisa. She was
Yeah.
really good.
She
And
was
she
good.
could be like a shock all the way through, where someone just like kind of is like, oh shit, like it ends up in like
Right.
the lineup or something, you know.
Right.
That's like seven. If someone was like, you saw these first rounds, make a group, it would be those seven.
Yeah. I think that that's reasonable. What I'll do is I don't remember who I voted for the first round, and I don't want to question myself, but I'll tell you who I voted for last week, and that can give you a little sneak preview, maybe as to what to expect, or maybe it may make you think, huh, what happened, and you can look forward to that as you watch. I presume half of the next episode on Saturday, or Friday night for you. So this was my line. I mean, you can make it on the app like this. It's pretty cute. So I mean, you can
You
try and see it,
voted
but
Doa, obviously, AOH. You
yeah,
have Rena. Oh, does Rena have some redemption? Jurdy, Ellie, K, Jihan. Oh, interesting. So I'm gonna have to look forward
yeah.
to it. I obviously I would love for Jurdy to make it. She's my favorite Rocket Punch member. I really hope that. So it seems like she might have some solid performances.
Okay. So I found the one I voted for first. I think the first round I voted because it was like the ones who I thought impressed me, but also ones that I just like, and I kind of also thought of like how the group dynamic would be. So my first vote round was Miru, Bora, Yodam, Yuki, G1, Jihan, and K, because I was like, you've got like main dancer, you've got main vocals, you've got a rapper and everything, and you've
Yeah.
got Miru. Just I love Miru, you know. And then after that, I started shaping it more. So then, like the second time, I voted Nana, Bora, Jurdy, G1, Jihan, Huisa, and then I accidentally voted for Jiwoo, and I cannot remember who I was supposed to vote for. So Jiwoo got a vote. So enjoy it.
Obviously, as I continue through the show, I'd love to see like Yuki and Jurdy and some of my favorites like really slay and make me like think, yeah, like they should be in the final lineup and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to see what they do more throughout the show. How do you vote?
You can get like the Mnet app thing.
Okay, so you have to have like an Mnet app thing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'd probably just do that on my desktop or something too.
But obviously, you'll be voting based on stuff that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah, but that's fine. I'm just gonna vote for Bora 7 times. I'm that fan. Bora, I don't need to see more. First round, she should be in. Is that even a thing? You probably have to vote 7 different people.
You
right?
have to make a whole team, yeah. Unfortunately.
I mean, based off the first round, I would have voted those 7 I named or whatever.
Yeah.
So I could vote just based off of what I've seen.
Yeah. You can vote, but you can only vote once a week. So.
That's interesting. When I'm voting that week, one of them just completely bombs, but I'm voting based off the previous performance or something.
Yeah,
you know, like
exactly. Well,
which still makes sense because, like, if I miss the voting period or whatever, like,
I mean, plenty of people are just going on there and voting for whoever they
for
like,
whoever their favorites are. I disagree with that. Like, as much as I'd love to see Jody or Miru and Yuki and some of my favorites, like, it's got to be based off of like merit of performance.
I make like one exception in each of my 7s to vote for just who I really like and would want to succeed, but the others I try to base.
Yeah, because I saw you had Ellie in there, and I really like Ellie too. Obviously, we always stand a short hair queen, but like it's.
Just you wait.
Oh, me wait. All right. I believe that it can happen. Of course. All right. What I'm terrified of is Nana just like taking me by a chokehold throughout this show or something.
You wish.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I think obviously we'll try and keep up with this and so
apparently
next
I need to look
we
forward
finish
to
the we have to. I don't even remember where we're up to, but it's the 2. You have to do like the 2 signal songs, the 2 teams doing the same song, and then which team won or whatever. So that'll you can assess that.
If I'm able to start the episode earlier, I can get through more on Friday. We'll see. Sometimes everyone comes in with like an hour's worth of links before I start.
Unfortunately, NCT Dream just dropped the full album, so you might have to listen to all of that instead.
I
mean, some of it's pretty good, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
No. That's for sure getting shared. Like, that's not a if. That's a when.
Yeah.
That's not. All right. Well, this has been the K-pop podcast. I'm Honan.
I'm Oliver.
Goodbye.